Get ready to hear from Black community as they respond to the ICE raids in Georgia. Check it out.
In the state of Georgia, and they had raided the Hyundai factory in Georgia, and they arrested 475 immigrants working in there. And as they were bringing them out, I saw iPhones, I saw name brand clothes on these immigrants, I saw all this stuff. Hyundai fucked up and ignored all protocol and hired a whole bunch of illegals. Now what, Hyundai? What the fuck you gonna do now? They done detained 475. And then when you looked at the parking lot, they had all them nice vehicles, all at the motherfucking American expenses. And then some of y'all, they just here to work. Well, while they were here, why didn't they want to get legal? Y'all just kill me with the bullshit. I'm glad ICE doing what the fuck they do. ICE keep up the good goddamn work. And Hyundai, one question. Are y'all hiring?
The only people that are mad about this raid in Ellaville, Georgia at the Hyundai mega site are probably people that don't pay taxes.
Shut up, loser. When you think MAGA can't be any dumber, they up it. They up the ante every time. LG and Hyundai are Korean companies, correct? You can correct me in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure they're both South Korean companies, right? And so Trump worked out a deal where they bring some of their manufacturing over to the United States. They settled in Georgia, which is good for Georgia's economy. It's also good for the local workers as well, for them to be able to get a job. I want people to understand something. When you bring a company over from another country, it is not uncommon for them to bring workers that actually know. Those workers, 9 times out of 10, are not just working the lines. They're training people. They're training people to get the job done, okay, the way that they want to do it. It's creating more jobs. And I live in Douglasville, so I'm right next to Carrollton, right? It's not even done yet. I don't think the warehouses and stuff are actually done, but they're coming over here to work on the cars, but also they're building out more buildings here in this little countryside. So, baby, you stop them from working. You know, South Korea is like, we're going to bring them home. The people that know how to do this, we're going to bring them home. That's going to also slow down production. Yeah, we're going to get them the fuck up out of there before they get hurt. Which is going to fuck up other foreign agreements, which is going to fuck up other things because they see how you guys treat foreigners. Y'all, that racism and bigotry is expensive. And we're about to pay the price.
A lot of Asian Americans thought that they were exempt from the ICE raids, and they are quickly finding out that that is not the case. Okay, so if you have not heard, a Hyundai plant in Georgia was raided, and a number of South Korean nationals were detained. Now, Hyundai is actually a South Korean car. You know, they are a South Korean car manufacturer, and they were opening new plants in Georgia, and they had sent a number of South Koreans here to help get everything, you know, flowing. And they did have, you know, some of them obviously had visas. Now they're saying they are taking their people back, and there is going to be a pause on this Hyundai plant. Now, mind you, it's not just South Koreans that work there. It's Americans too. And now that plant might not run anymore. They might say, forget the United States, since y'all are detaining our people. Mind you, a white woman who is running for a state representative in a neighboring county actually bragged about making phone calls to ICE about potential illegal workers at the Hyundai plant. And other people who worked at the Hyundai plant called on these people. Mind you, you're working for a South Korean company and you're calling ICE on South Koreans. Nonetheless, I saw somebody say that they looked up the stats, and over 60% of Asians in Georgia voted for Trump. So they voted for this administration who is doing mass deportations, thinking that it was not going to affect their community. And I seen an Asian girl making a video about it, and she literally said Korean or Asians are normally not the target, you know, when it comes to deportation. Y'all remember what happened when they fought and sued to get rid of affirmative action, and then their acceptance rates decreased tremendously, while, acceptance rates of African Americans or black people who they thought were getting in by affirmative action remained the same. They think they are the exception. And every time they find out.
So let me just say, MAGA, y'all are not smart. Again, this is going to be a series. Y'all are not smart. Y'all are all over this internet talking about how you're celebrating that ICE went and rounded up the South Korean engineers that were here, as if it's making room for jobs. Y'all are not smart. So number one, they were here on a visa. Wasn't a work visa, because the United States government wasn't paying them. The factory that's not even open, their government sent them here to train our dumbasses, because that factory was going to provide 8,000 jobs. You know why? Because South Korea invested in that factory billions of dollars. So you bird brains think that somehow ICE rounding them up was a win. Y'all are not smart. You are simply not smart. You all are the most uninformed, uneducated people I've ever seen in my life. So now that you have disrespected this country, so now that we have rounded the engineers up that were sent here to train our dumbasses, what do you think is going to happen to the factory? Huh? What do you think is going to happen to the 8,000 jobs that were for Americans? That was the whole point. So when they're here training us, when they get home, their government is going to pay them, which is why they did not need work visas. That's why they didn't have them. And y'all are on here celebrating as if that was a win. MAGA, y'all are not smart. You're not smart.
Man, they can say what they want to say. Trump is the real MVP. You understand? He is really cleaning house. You understand? He's doing what a president is supposed to do. You understand? Make sure that the country is, protected. Making sure that Americans are taken care of. Making sure that Americans, come first. You understand? But you still have people, still talking trash, talking about he's racist. Man, I'm so sick of hearing that. Listen, man. ICE, I feel bad for a lot of the ICE workers and stuff, everything, all of the stuff that they have to endure. You understand? I feel so bad for them that, they have to endure. But anywho, Trump is the real MVP. Let me tell you something. Our president, he is the true gangster. He is the real of the real. You understand? But anywho, y'all can say what y'all want to say about Trump. Guess what? Who cares?
Let's take it from the top. It's not Hyundai, it's Hyundai. So if you're going to report anything to ICE, at least know the freaking name of it. Number two, in the first Trump administration, there was an agreement signed between Donald Trump and the South Koreans to bring some of their car manufacturing here to the United States. The South Koreans built a factory in the state of Georgia, and recently they have been adding to it, partnering with one of America's companies, LG, to produce electric vehicles, which would have brought billions to the state of Georgia and to the entirety of the United States and put a lot of people to work. Something you MAGA supporters are always complaining about. All of our manufacturing is being shipped overseas. And now that it's back in the United States, you want to open up your big fat Oopa Loopa mouth to ICE to get these people deported. And now all work has had to cease. And we've just damaged our relationship with one of our closest partners in Asia. Do you people not think? It's this type of ignorance and silliness that got us Donald Trump in the first place, because you people just blindly do stuff. And now you just cost the state of Georgia jobs and money. What a stupid mother.
There's a woman on here bragging about calling ICE on Hyundai. She just saved Georgia jobs. Let's get clear. That Hyundai plant in Elabelle is still under construction. There are no Georgia jobs ever to steal. She's mad because Hyundai brought in Korean nationals, and why wouldn't they? It's a Korean company. They need their own specialists to build a plant to their standards. Cars start in Korea. And let me give you an example. My car, for example. My car was mostly built in Korea and finished off here. That's how they do it. Under U.S. regulations. That's global manufacturing 101. Now here's the kicker. She reported them because they were working for, quote unquote, slave wages. Let's stop it right there. If you're really mad about slave wages, then your issue is with Hyundai and their subcontractors, the ones writing those checks. But instead of calling out the billion-dollar corporation pocketing tax breaks, she goes after the workers. That's not justice. That's scapegoating. And I've seen this same energy before. My mentor's friend, may she rest in peace, she was like my mama, a black woman, went to do a wellness check in a rural Georgia town on official court orders. They refused to let her in. They called the sheriff on her, all because of who she was. It took a judge threatening contempt of court before they even finally backed down. This is how these backwoods towns operate. It's not about rules. It's about control and about deciding who belongs and who doesn't. Let's call this what it is. She ain't fighting for Georgians. She ain't fighting for no wages. She's playing the same old role, upholding a system that protects corporations and punishes families, and bragging about it like she's a hero. That's not justice. That's white supremacy in real time.
And a lot of Koreans in Georgia, back during the election, the presidential election, talked about how they were going to vote for Trump because of economy and immigration. Those were the two things that they were very focused on during the election, was the economy and immigration. And now look. A lot of those businesses are closing, and now they're rounding up our people. I hope this is a wake-up call that proximity to whiteness and the fact that we will never be considered equal to white people, no matter what we do, no matter how successful we become, we will never be seen as our equal. They still have the same racist rhetoric that they do about us.
They were supposed to invest in America, meaning they were supposed to bring American jobs for Americans. It wasn't for them to bring over these companies and then bring over 450 to 500 nationals from said country. It says South Korea has already committed $30 billion in investments here, and today they're announcing another $22 billion in addition. That'll grow their U.S. workforce from 4,000 to 20,000 workers by 2025, investing in a range of advanced technologies, some of which Tony already mentioned, from semiconductors to large capacity batteries to electric vehicle chargers and to pharmaceuticals. And the construction in America means jobs for, guess what? Americans. You see that? The economy has created 613,000 overall manufacturing jobs. Yeah, those were for illegals. Those were not for Americans. Just manufacturing jobs. Today's announcement is also proof that America is back to working with our allies. So he lied. Those jobs were supposed to be for Americans. The construction job was supposed to be for Americans, not his own fucking people. So you know what? This is the fuck around and find out stage. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with my president. If they don't like it, then guess what? They could take their company and they could shove it. I'm sick and tired of these countries coming over here playing in our fucking faces. Y'all come over here and y'all want to bring all of these jobs and all of this technology, and then y'all make it seem as if y'all going to do it to better our people, but only thing you're doing is bettering your people.
The history between Black Americans and Asian immigrants in the United States is not a simple story of cultural misunderstanding. It is a story that has been carefully engineered and manipulated by white supremacy, with the help of the U.S. government to create division. After the Civil War, Black Americans were locked into poverty by systemic racism, denied wealth, land, and access to opportunity. Meanwhile, Asian immigrants, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Korean, and later South Asian, were brought into this country often as labor replacements. White elites used them strategically as a buffer class. This laid the groundwork for suspicion and competition between two oppressed groups, both fighting for survival under the shadow of white dominance. By the mid-20th century, when Black Americans launched the Civil Rights Movement, they forced the United States to confront its hypocrisy on democracy. The blood, sweat, and sacrifice of Black people led directly to sweeping changes. Civil rights legislation, voting rights, housing protections, and federal policies that forced America to open its doors. And it was precisely in this moment that the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act was signed. That law, one on the moral backbone of the civil rights struggle, brought in millions of Asian immigrants. Out of this period rose the model minority myth. White America told a story. Look at the Asians, hardworking, obedient, successful. Why can't Black Americans be like them? It was a deliberate weapon, crafted to pit two groups against each other, erasing the structural oppression of Black communities while rewarding certain immigrant groups with selective access to opportunity. It was never about lifting Asians up. It was about keeping Black people down. Fast forward to today, and we see the same tactics at work. When Ed Blum and conservative forces launched their attack on affirmative action, they held up Asian students as the face of their legal fight. They told Asians, "This policy hurts you. Team up with us." But when affirmative action was dismantled, it did not open doors wider for Asian students. It opened them wider for white students. Asians are now beginning to see the painful truth. They were only being used as tools to advance white supremacy. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.